Today's show is sponsored by Supreme Whiskey Stones, an LEO business specializing in the best whiskey accessories to protect and serve your favorite pours. From whiskey stones to customer laser-etched glassware, they take pride in what they do and love making their customers happy. Check them out on Instagram at Supreme Whiskey Stones, at supremewhiskeystones.com, or through the various military and first responder organizations they sponsor. Cheers.
When we used to do the pre and post game,
Oh, yeah.
in the fishbowl right outside of Rupp Arena, we were doing the
Fishbowl.
It was the name of the studio. Like they called it a fishbowl because it looked like everybody could see into it, like a fishbowl. So it was on the street level, and there was a window that you could look in, and it was really funny because this guy and a girl walked by, and you could see them kind of stop right as they got past us, and they were like, should we do it? Should we do it? And then the girl ran back and lifted her shirt up and then just ran away.
Did you get her name?
We were in the middle of a broadcast.
You could flip the business card out there or something. You gotta work these angles, John. The opportunities you miss are the ones you don't take.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. With me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. Say hello to the folks, Zeke.
Aloha.
They're so excited.
It's been a minute.
It has been like a year.
Well, it's been a minute since we had night pours. Had some good whiskey, you know.
I know. It's been a good night. It's been a good night hanging out with you.
February's going to be a good month. We got good things coming. We got some good pours lined up.
March is going to be a great month, too.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll get a couple of, blinds in. Those take a little longer, and we've honestly got a few backed up from some good folks that have sent them to us, but we're just trying to get what we can when we can right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have one from our friend Eric. We have one from our friend Bryant. We have one from our friend Blake. Don't worry. We're going to get to them. We haven't forgot about you. We're very, very thankful for everything you guys do. And anytime someone sends us a blind, we are still catching up. Tonight, we're still catching up on something that was given to us while you were out taking care of Layla when she was just born. So this is something that I have had sitting unopened since September. I waited for you.
My apologies.
It's nothing to apologize for. I'm just saying, when you send stuff to Zeke, I might never hear about it. But when it comes to me, I sit there, I don't open it, I wait for you because we are a team.
Oh, no, you always hear about it. You might not just taste it.
Oh. I don't always hear about it. There are some that I have never heard of, and someone's like, oh, did Zeke share that with you? No. Never heard of it.
I don't know what you're talking about, John.
Oh, there's been some.
People lie.
I'm like Varys.
People lie.
I have little birdies that whisper to me.
I mean, if anything, I'd refill it and give it to you with some bunk something so you thought it wasn't bad, then feel bad about missing out on it.
But no, we have a lot of great stuff coming up. I think we're going to try to do some things with some restaurants here in Nashville. That'll be fun. There could be some other big news that we will be sharing hopefully sooner rather than later. That's something that hopefully we can look forward to. There's an event in February that we're looking forward to going to with some of our friends. And then hopefully getting some people together that weekend. So we're looking forward to that. There's a lot
the 1 month
going on.
Delayed birthday bash
for
part
Zeke.
2.
We do our birthday anniversary. Like our anniversary of the podcast is in November, and Zeke's birthday is in January. But we wait till February every year to celebrate.
Well, last year was January, wasn't it?
No, it was February.
Oh,
we always wait until February to end up doing a bash.
Either way, it should be a ton of great people in town. It'll coincide with Lauren Simpson's Four Roses Special Ops charity event on Friday, house tasting or bottle share here on Saturday. Should just be an amazing time. I'm going to hope John takes lots of pictures, maybe does some other things, and I'm going to enjoy some great pours.
Yeah, Zeke's going to do what he normally does and just sit around and drink, and I'm going to do all the other work.
Win-win.
Tonight, though, we are having, like I said, this is something that I've been sitting on since September. I want to thank our friend Andy from Old Dominick for getting me this bottle. And this is Old Dominick down in Memphis. They are a distillery that has been revitalized. It's a brand that was around pre-prohibition. Domenico Canali was in Memphis. He had a wholesale food business. He later became the largest distributor of produce in the South and a primary beer distributor for the Mid-South. But he also had an Old Dominick toddy and an Old Dominick whiskey. That was around, Prohibition killed it. And now their descendants brought it back. They went and got Alex Castle to be the distiller. They brought her over from Wild Turkey. Lots of good stuff happening in Memphis with Old Dominick, and they have their own distillate that is currently aging, and they'll be putting that out eventually. This right now is an MGP. It is their Huling Station. That's where they used to actually have the rail cars come in and fill them up with all the produce and the whiskey and the beer. But it is kind of bringing back that whole brand that Dominick had around in the 1800s. This is 44% rye, 4% malted barley, 52% corn, comes out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, as I said. MGP, it's 100 proof, 50% ABV. It is non-age stated, does not say straight on it. We have to assume that it's not 4 years. I think I heard somewhere it was about 3 to 4 years, but it's non-age stated on the bottle.
No, I think that's about what I heard. And coincidentally, I did actually taste this probably right around the time that you would have gotten a bottle. One of my excursions to Elixir that I happened to make. I thought it was a fair pour, and let's dive into it.
All right, let's go ahead. You want to go first?
No, you can lead the way. You always make me go first.
No, we switch off pretty regularly.
Well, then go first.
Notes for me on this. The nose was floral, had some dark cherry in there as well. The taste, and admittedly, I will say I am a little stuffed up, so I'm more nasal than usual.
Oh, Jesus.
But it was very hard for me to get a nose that I had to go back to it a little bit, step away, come back. The taste, it was a cinnamon cherry bomb. I got some hints of oak in there, but lots of dark characteristics to it. Dark cherry, dark oak. The cinnamon had a nice little spice kick to it. The finish was nothing that was going to make your toes curl, but there was nothing bad either. There's nothing that I can say that is bad about this pour. Comes in at $40. I think it's a very solid pour for $40. You're not going to be unhappy getting this. And I don't want to bury the lead, and I don't want to skip ahead. It's a very satisfying drinker.
Fair enough. So for me on this one, nose-wise, I thought it reminded me of cherry moonshine, and not legit moonshine, but stuff that's in stores now, in the fact of simply I picked up, the initial fruit flavor of the cherry. Then it became, somewhat astringent behind that. After that, I think it's just extreme high rye content. 44% rye, like, wow. Go ahead and say that I would assume this is a contract distill for MGP and not a mash they are doing on their own. At least I haven't seen anybody else with that ratio. And that being said, there was, definitely the rye came in toward the back. It really seemed to me more like Rumple Mints than Red Hot, if that makes sense. Whereas I think a Red Hot kind of candy or whatever, it's much more singe, burn. It's literally from the cinnamon aesthetics versus Rumple Mints, which all these kids that drink Goldschlager these days. Rumple Mints was the OG there, I think. I put away quite a few bottles and used to keep it in the freezer. It is what it is.
So I think Rumple Mints was something that we grabbed in high school when we couldn't get anything else.
Yeah, it was a high proof, and it was, like I say, the OG cinnamon whiskey almost. I think it's technically a schnapps, but I don't know what the difference. Who knows? At any rate, the fact that there was the cherry cinnamonness there, and then also you could tell this thing, had some proof or lack of aging that gave it an astringent component. That's really kind of how I went to in my mind, along with some other random flashbacks that no one should have. Palate-wise, it seemed warm, fruity, thin. It had a good sweetness to it that I attributed to somewhat of the cherry I got from the nose. It's a less than 4-year product. You can't really expect it to be too multi-dimensional. And obviously there was some astringency there as well. What I did think was pretty neat was that you can tell this is the MGP rye grains. Folks ham up over now and they see a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever year, local Belle Meade. You've got the Bloms. You've got Traverse City. You've got Valentine with Mayor Pimgree. Like, these are the high rye mashes that everyone hams up over so hard.
Well, that was like a 35% rye or 32% rye.
36, I think. But either way, this is 44% rye. That's heavy. And I don't get any greenness to it for a assumable 2 to 3 year product. It's not green. It's just not there. None of those young, unappealing rye characteristics jump out at you. So I find that pretty impressive. I did go and try this with a splash of water. I think we mentioned a while back, we're trying to be a little more diverse here. If anything, we've seen that we all drink and enjoy our whiskeys differently, and we want to at least be open-minded and, see what we may not know about a little bit of water or a mixer or other things here and there with these products. After the splash, the nose really changed. All I really got was a cinnamon and clove out of it. Palate-wise, it seemed much creamier, which water doesn't hold weight, so to speak, so I didn't understand that. But it did seem much creamier, had a light cinnamon to it. For a minute, I was disappointed and thought that fruitiness was gone. But on the very tail end, it kind of came back around and seemed to be a little more caramel-type flavor in there. I don't know. I'm pretty sure when I had this the first time, months ago, laughably, when the rep had left it down at Elixir and Tark and I had it, we tasted through a few things that day. And there was some other MGP he had, and I honestly don't know what it was. And we laughed because he thought that was the better young MGP. And I said, no, $40, like, especially if this is a taster and, somebody walks into the store and they're, simply going to taste through a few things on the open bar and say, hey, what's new? What have I not had? At $40, it's not the cheapest whiskey on the shelf, but I could see that easily selling, quite a few units, for one of those in-store tasting type things.
I agree. And it's not what you would expect. When you see it on paper and you go, like, the funny thing is it's spicy, but it's not too spicy. When I hear 44% rye, I think my mouth is going to be on fire. And it's really just, Alex did a great job making sure that it was subtle, but not too in-your-face explosion.
Yeah, granted, it's 100 proof, so there's some water to it. But like you said, it doesn't explode. And I was more impressed that there was just under that green, mint, pine, whatever you may pick up from a young rye and however you perceive it. Neither of us got it from this.
I enjoyed it. For knowing what the price is, for knowing all that other stuff, it's one that I definitely will make sure is on the bar. Because I think you got to have some variety there. You can't just be pounding high proofers all the time. This is one of those ones that, it's 100 proof. It's not going to break the bank. It's an enjoyable pour. I definitely will go to it again.
Well, and, also, too, is you see more and more, pictures inside the group and other things of how people enjoy their whiskey. We see a lot of ice, we see a lot of cocktails and various things, and that's honestly where I think this would be pretty well applicable. A cherry cordial, I can't imagine this wouldn't be good with. Some type of lemon tartish mixer that offsets and really hits that cherry note well.
You got to think of Manhattan.
And then the rye boldness that, it's not overwhelming, but especially in a cocktail where that's cut down some with other ingredients, I think that would fit.
Well, in any of the winter drinks that you would stick a cinnamon stick in, I feel like this would go really well in as well.
I would wonder, if there are distilling in-house as well, is it the same mash, and are they able to get rye grains that deliver what these do? Because to me, this is a special grain to be 44% and not just blow your socks off at a 3-year whiskey.
I agree. I would love to know more about their own distillate, because I have to feel like if you have a distiller that's already on staff, they have to have a hand in what MGP is doing. So, plus when they have wild turkey experience, things like that, you have to feel like Alex is doing a little bit more than what other people might be doing that are contracting with MGP.
Well, and the fact that this is, at least for us, assumably a contracted mash run. I don't think MGP has this in their repertoire of various, mashes.
No, and I have to think that she is heavily involved in this. I want to know what's going on with their own distillate. I'm very, very, very curious as to what's going on. So for me, I don't want to reiterate it. It's a buy just because I think I would go to it again. I like the spiciness of it, that it's that cinnamon spicy. It's not it's not an uncomfortable spicy. It's more of a cinnamon spicy for me.
Yeah, it's interesting, and honestly, I wonder how much of this juice they have and how much they plan to age it. Just because I would like to see where this goes with, another 2 or 3 years in some oak. Official ranking, and just because I'll stay true to my original response when I did have this at Elixir's a few months ago, I didn't buy it simply because I had a cart full of things and I didn't need an extra $40 on my tab that day. And I'm probably still right there. 50-50 as to buy or bar it. From what I can tell, they have a pretty good, rep and sales program. And they're putting tasters in the stores. So if you see this, out there at a store that has tasters, give it a whirl. I think for a fair amount of people, it's going to hit them in the right spots, especially depending on what they drink and how they drink it. I don't know. Sorry to toe the line, but I'm
give me an answer.
I'm still pass, just simply because I pass in the store. I'll stay authentic to that. But
do you want the truth?
I don't think it's a bad pour by any means. With a second kid, $40 is weighing a little heavier on me than it used to.
I was very pleasantly surprised, though, with this one.
No, same here. Like I say, there were 2 other MGPs out that day that were young that reps had left. And I said, hands down, this is the best one that's there. I wish I could remember their names, but it was 3 months or 4 months ago. And brain ain't as good as it used to be.
I hear you.
Much like John's beard.
Well, we would love to I know we've talked to Andy. We hope to have Andy in. We hope to have Alex in, talk more about what is going on down at Old Dominick. Maybe we can get down to Memphis. It's not that far of a drive. So, that's a big if with Zeke's 2 kids. But maybe I'll get down to Memphis and go sit down with them. But hopefully we could do something with the good folks at Old Dominick. Andy, thank you for giving us this bottle. Please go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads. Go ahead and follow us on your favorite podcast app, which you already are. Leave us a 5-star review. Tell us why you like us. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Hey, I'm just a little happy and intrigued to see a little diversity in the juice in Memphis these days.
Agreed. Cheers.
Ciao.